Look at this guy. I know that guy. That guy's beard looks freshly trimmed. 2XKO says, new champ mentioned, learn more about Alpha Lab playtest from Sajam and our devs. Well, well, well. They asked, I pulled up. Great time. Happy to be there. You're up.
We're here to talk about our first playtest towards the end of this year. It's going to be in August, calling it Alpha Lab.
This is awesome news. Everybody wants to play the game, no? I've been saying that I expected the playtest to be like end of the year, kind of like a fall, November, December sort of timeline, and then maybe having more stuff in the beginning of the year. I did not expect it to be so soon. Evo, the game will be there, I'm sure. And then August, right after, a month later, the game playable for people all over the world at home for the very first time, which is a big deal. It doesn't mean that the game is coming soon necessarily, especially because the playtest is called Alpha Lab and not like a beta of some kind.
This is going to be a very early version of sort of our first draft of the whole game, not just core gameplay. An online playtest. Offline play is there, but it won't be in this test. And you'll be able to play from at home, PC or Xbox or PlayStation 5. But the whole experience of like how you get into the game, what are the things to do other than fight? It's going to be a little jank, but that's kind of the point. It's important that we hear your voice at an early enough stage where we can actually make changes.
Not my face. I was surprised that it was going to be so soon, but this makes more sense. They say if the playtest is later, we actually are not doing a playtest. It's like a beta or like a demo. If the game is playable now and the game's not coming out until like spring of next year or something, right? Or whenever, you actually have time to adjust it. That's like almost a year. You have time to sit on it and think and correct some stuff. Because like, when the Strive lobby system came out and everybody was like, this is a placeholder. Surely they won't do this in the main game, right? And then like nothing changed to the main game, basically. That's like the fear I think a lot of people have. Whereas this is, hey, play the video game, actually give us feedback and we'll have time to make adjustment. Yeah, and I get the sense that this is really just the bones of it, like how you play against other humans, what the UX and UI and stuff like that looks like, all these other features around the game besides like I'm playing and hitting another character on the screen. You're not just looking for, I'm the Evo champion and the frame data on this needs to be different. You're looking for everything, right? Like I went to play against my friend and it was hard to figure out how to play against them or like, these kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly. This is our first draft of like sort of the whole game loop, right? So how you get into the game, how do you like play with your friends? We're trying some things that are conventional to be familiar to you, some things that are new. And we want to get your feedback on how it's all holding together. What's your wish list? Like, based on what you're seeing, like what's missing?
We really do want to hear everything.
Oh. Whoa, this is cool. I didn't even see this. Tutorial, question mark? It's the most fighting game thing ever. Walk, jump, or dash.
Even like the push the glasses up, like actually, that stuff's helpful. The larger parts of the game, the around game, even though it's very early, we want to hear about it.
I get the sense you guys have direction. Like this is what we're thinking about doing. So, it seems like feedback of like whether you think that's a cool place to go or not is good. And to your point, if you're like, oh, I really wish this feature was in the game, right? Maybe you guys are already planning it, but maybe it's something you weren't thinking about and it might be useful, right?
Absolutely.
When I boot up the video game and it's time to play, like what do I have my hands on? This is the coolest part right here. We're gonna let people that get in be able to invite one other player. Well, well, well. Boy, is it gonna be a scrap in your Discord. You get one other person. The outsides of the game, they wanna know how it feels to get in and play against somebody. They wanna know how it feels to do the tutorial, to do the UI. I'm sure there'll be like a training mode of some kind in this thing, right? It's gonna be online, so there's got to be some system of like plugging yourself into the void, either queuing or lobbies or something. And then after that, playing against another human, seeing how the online play is. And if it turns out that the game just like doesn't function like the Strive lobby was, you can actually tell them and then hopefully it gets fixed before it comes out, which is great. That's the idea.
Get in there with a friend. You're gonna see the champions that we've seen so far up through EVO Japan and Combo Breaker, but there's gonna be a new champion to try out. You'll see things like Ari, who will have a little bit of an updated kit, a little bit easier to play, but still have that ceiling. You'll see other things like we'll have a new...
Whoa, the colors. That's new. Her super didn't used to do this.
But still have that...
This like explosion, this bomb explosion thing, it didn't used to do this. The super used to be... She would throw it, it comes back, and then if you make it miss you, it like flies away, and then you make it come back again, and then you get more hits based on like it missing and then hitting multiple times. I didn't really mess with Ari a lot. She looked like she took a lot of time investment. I already played Echo, and he was a time investment character, so I didn't want to like do 2 time investment characters for a game that I was only playing on like the show floor.
We'll have a new fuse called a Pulse Fuse, which is the recommended way to play it. It makes it much easier and get to the fun more quickly, as well as some changes based on feedback we've heard around how long combos are, reducing some of the outliers, and also we're upping some of the special damage and early combo damage to just make matches go a little bit more quickly.
Every time I talk to somebody on the team, it's like, you guys mentioned this last time, and in this build, this is new, so tell me what you think about it. Some change or something that somebody mentioned last time is like in this version, so I'm sure the same kind of thing will happen. But I wanted to touch on this fuse that you were talking about a second ago.
Our aspiration for this game is to make a game that's really fun right away. Whatever your skill level, like with fighting games, if you're brand new, if maybe like you played a lot of fighting games but you haven't played this kind of tag fighter, or if like you're really into tag fighters, like
we try a lot of things, and one of the things we land on is this pulse fuse. The way it works is you can mash light, medium, or heavy, and it will lead you into an auto combo.
This is something I was surprised was not in the game before. Basically, every game has some kind of auto combo system of some kind. The way the fuses work is they change the way you play massively. One of the fuses is called Fury. It's the one that everybody before would basically say, hey, if you're new, pick the Fury fuse, because it gives you a passive damage bonus when you're like low on life, and it gives you a dash cancel, but like you probably won't use the dash cancel if you're new. You don't know what you're doing, so this will give you a damage boost. The other fuses, it's like you can call an assist twice. Like you have to know how to call an assist and like use an assist to be effective calling an assist twice. You can tag in and out twice. Like you need to know how to effectively set up things with assists and like different moves to get real mix-ups, right? You can do a DHC. Like these things are things that if you know how to play the game are very useful, but if you're new, like none of that is accessible for you. The auto combo landing on a fuse is awesome because it also means it's not a game system that's like everybody has the auto combo.
Just mashing light, this is what you get.
Perfect.
And if you mash medium, you get this.
Spend some super, spend some meter.
And if you mash heavy,
it's just like modern combos or modern control.
Goes right into your ult. Of course, you need to have the meter. You can flow between the options. So like, you can hit this light, get into an air combo, switch to medium, and now all of a sudden it goes right into the other super. I can kind of get an idea of how this character's combos work. I can see the basic building blocks, what comes after what. Then they could try it on their own and maybe like lead into an advanced fuse.
And also all your manual options still work while you have this fuse.
So if you're playing with a friend who's new and they pick the pulse fuse and they're learning the game, then you can still do all the fancy stuff you want to do with your character.
We were hoping that this could also be one of those avenues to better enrich the duo play experience when someone's brand new. They're having a good time, you're doing the more advanced stuff, you're actually playing the game together still. And again, like, they can take that next step at any time.
It's just a quick way of onboarding to the character by playing and not like watching videos or...
Like anything, tell us what you think about it.
Yeah. If playing with their friend liked using it, or if their friend immediately jumped off and was like, cool, I'm gonna go do this now, and like I'm gonna learn the regular combos. I'm really curious what people think. And when I teach people the game, I will definitely recommend them to try this, right, at first. You mentioned Ari has changed quite a bit. So what's the difference between the character from before to now?
One thing we heard a lot about Ari is that people love how she looks, how she plays, and then when they play her, they're like, oh man, this is an ammo system I have to manage. This is a really hard hump to get over. And a lot of the feedback we got was, oh hey, when I hit this S1, it just uses all my ammo up. And then I have to like find space to get it back. And most people can't do that, nor is it that exciting, right? So you still see the 3 Foxfire charges, but there's no more like using the ammo and then having to manually recharge it.
Trying to pick her up, she was really hard, which is probably not good for like somebody who's so popular like this. She had these 3 orbs and you could shoot them and use them independently. They were really, really strong and honestly kind of degenerate. Like because it was ammo, she basically just auto neutral did Psycho Crusher shoot projectile, and that was like her neutral. It was really cheap.
Before when you hit S1, it would do a barrage of Foxfire blasts, and now it just shoots a single Foxfire. But if you hit it a couple times, she'll do multiple hits.
She has
so
a
you
Rekka.
can just like hit it a 3rd time. She does this Rekka, where you get paid. So you can continue the combo from there. The team did a really good job of giving you an opportunity to kind of like find this fun and this cool outcome and these acrobatics, this magic right away. However, we still want to add the juice.
Right.
And so you can air dash after the 2nd hit. So go ahead
The link
and
is
try
pretty
it.
tight.
And you can, put a mix on it, and it starts to get really fun when you have an assist come out. But, there's counterplay. So, you can, if they're too predictable, you can hit her out of it. Then she's also got a down S1. Before, this used to be a bomb that would use all your charges, but now what it does is it creates this shot that homes in on you after a delay.
Yeah, homed on the air, yeah.
And so, it's a little bit slow, but as you'd expect, you can actually do some really cool setups with it.
Okay.
Where if you call the assist and you switch to him, that still hangs out on the screen.
Right,
And it's
yeah.
gonna go after you as well. So y'all show us what 6 setups you can do with this thing.
So these changes, especially these 2 changes together, seem like you're trying to figure out ways for new players to jump in and then have access to things faster while retaining that kind of skill ceiling for people long term, which I mean, you know, the last champion we saw at Lowy, obviously, she has like the just frames and all kinds of wild stuff in her tentacles. And I found that she was a really complex champ with a lot of things going on. So yeah, it is cool to see the design side of both of those things.
I sort of reject this notion that like if you make it good for beginners and it's sort of, you know, is bad for experienced players. We want both, right? And that's very hard. With Ari, we saw that like we were really nailing it for like the high skill players, but we were just missing for like new skill players.
She's like probably a bit much. But she's fun. The new bomb move is the kind of stuff that I think they should have more in the game. I think it's cool. I think they agree. Like things that you can do and leave on the screen and then come back later and like stuff happens. So like when you're playing by yourself, it's cool because it's just like a good bomb setup move that you can do. But then when you're not playing by yourself and you have your teammate do stuff, it feels good in that sense too.
We're just like wanting people to like get to the fun quickly, get into that flow state. Let me just get one more. And it's very tricky, right? Because it's a team game. We have to think about duo play. If you kill one champion too quickly, how does that feel? And we're super interested to know from everybody playing and everybody watching, like, hey, like, what does the game feel like now? You know, did we go far enough?
Yeah, is the game too fast? Like, is everybody like, oh gosh, I got in there and died in 5 seconds? With versus games in general, when they're newer, the games tend to take a little longer because people don't have fancy combos and stuff, but yeah, people were developing them pretty fast, even from just like playing on show floors. Every time I've given you guys feedback, you've come back and been like, all right, we tried it, or we looked into it and like we thought it made a lot of sense, or we did this change. So it is a cool feeling to know that that's being heard, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody says and what you guys get for feedback once the game is playable.
Yeah, we're literally making this game for you. Like the general, you, of course, but also the general you out there. We're in it to make a game for the FGC.
This shot is the most important shot of the whole
That's
video.
all there is to it.
Obama absolutely brutalizing his poor teammate who's fighting for his life, and just every second flaming him as they try to work together to defeat Justin Wong. They're not even fighting the 2 on the right at all. They're actually just fighting each other. That's the Riot game experience. He can't decide who he hates more, his teammate or himself.
If you are in the playtest, we'll be sending out surveys, and so please fill out the survey. If you're not in the playtest, we're gonna let folks who are in the test stream, right? You know, we'll be watching social media. We're not just gonna look at the surveys, we're gonna look at sort of the broader conversation that's happening around this video game. Thank you everyone who signed up in the past. For this one, you're gonna need to sign up again. Sorry about that. And the instructions and how to do all that, we just put out an article on our website, and it's also linked in the description of this video, so check that out.
What I can tell you about these 2 humans from every time I talk to them and everybody on the team, they feel very strongly that you should tell them how the game is and what you don't like about it, because they want the feedback, because they want to try to make the game better. Because every time I talk to them, literally all they say is, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And anything I have to say that's like sort of just like, well, you know, like that kind of a vibe, they're like, all right, cool, tell us why. Why is it bad? What should we do? What do you think? What's going on? They really are like, tell us what's bad or not good about the game, and we'll look into it. They're not just like, give us your feedback. Anyway, this Guilty Gear cabinet you've been mashing on the play with that for 5 years. Like, they're just like, hey, tell us what the problem is and we'll fix it. Is it everybody? Is it certain places? How are you rolling this out?
In this first one, we're starting with a few select regions. It'll be on PC and console. We'll widen that out as we get closer to launch. And this is sort of like an inflection point for us. Every single time players get their hands on this game, they teach us something new about it. We're literally making this game for the FGC. If you guys don't love it, then we're doing something wrong.
Is there gonna be more news, more information? Is it just like you guys are vanishing off the face of the earth until this thing is out? Like, what should I be looking forward to?
Yeah, for sure we'll have more information about like how this works and what's gonna be in it. If you're going to EVO, you'll be able to take a sneak peek at the build there.
Whatever's playable for all of us on the show floor at EVO will probably be the same gameplay-wise as whatever is in the playtest right after. Nice, cool. So that'll be there, playable, local play is in it.
Local play
I
is
want to
there.
emphasize that local play exists.
Yeah.
I figured this would be a problem, because like, you know how they say that the test is online only? I already saw someone in my chat say the game doesn't have local play. Dude, The game has local play. The online test that they're gonna do online is online and doesn't have local play. I knew this would come up, so I was like, you guys really gotta emphasize this, because someone's gonna be like, they don't have offline play in a fighting game. Are they stupid? Local play exists. What a boot. It's just not in this, okay?
This is our first step in sort of the next leg of the journey. As we get closer to launch, there'll be more of these. Not sure quite when. A lot of it will be based on what we learn from this test and how long it takes us to
more than one test, let's go. I mean, my guess is probably sooner rather than later, because if you want to make changes, the test can't be too close to whenever the final version is. It's pretty different from how most fighting game tests are, to be honest. Most fighting game tests are very like, this is a test, now the game's playable in like a week, and there's not really a lot of changes. There have been some exceptions though. Like Granblue did tests, and then they made some changes from their tests, right? But a lot of the games are like pretty much you play at a beta of them, and it's kind of a demo. This is not that vibe. This is like, you're playing something early and it's going to change a lot. So tell us how it should change. They've already identified some things that I think probably need to be changed, right? Like they say they want higher damage and slightly shorter combos. I think one of the problems right now is like the game has really long combos that don't do a lot of damage. Like the characters need to die faster, and then also the combos need to be slightly shorter probably. That's cool. Go sign up. I mean, get in there, get a chance to play. I'm excited to play. For me, it's really hard to be excited about stuff unless I can play it. I'm down to game, and I like versus games, so I want a new versus game to play. There hasn't been a new versus game in a while. Oh yeah, August 8th to the 19th, 2024. Okay. I'm down. I'm down to Mash for 11 days. That sounds great. Almost 2 weeks. The thing that I'm interested in for this too is how many people who don't play fighting games will try it. They're like, I'm ulting, gray screen simulator. Like they're just dead the whole time. Listen, if they need an olive branch, if you see a streamer struggling, just let me know. Maybe I can go help. Maybe we'll try something during the beta. Yeah. Not like a slam, but maybe we can like pair up some streamers and some people and like do something. It also depends, like, how does it work online? I don't know. Are there lobbies? Is there custom rooms? Like, what if you just can't spectate very easily? Like if you're not, then you probably can't do it, right? I mean, that's fine. Somebody added me on Twitter and said, who is the new champ? I don't know. Couldn't be me.